Hi, my name is Andre V and I'm the founder of Parcel Locker Central. And today I'm talking with Tessa Turner. She's a ex-VP of Luxer One. Is it right? Hi, Tessa.
Hi, nice to meet you. That's
Yeah,
correct.
it's really nice to have you here. I've been watching you over the LinkedIn and what you are doing, and I found that you are also very passionate about lockers as me. So nice to have a like-minded person here.
Yes, absolutely. I was fortunate to interact with you when I was at Luxor and then, still continue to be a really big fan of what you're doing out on social media and promoting lockers throughout the world.
So my main community is here in Europe, and we don't know much about Northern America. We see that Amazon is growing. We know that Luxor One has been installing sort of residential lockers in the buildings, but not so much public lockers, except these Amazon ones. Could you briefly tell us what is your view on the Northern American market, and what is the potential future for that market?
Yeah, the United States has been a little slow to adopt public lockers, but certain verticals, right, multifamily, it's incredibly dense. Retail, the pandemic kind of sped that along. So it's about 10 years behind, China and Europe, but I think, as labor pressures continue to happen, I think that is spearheading towards wider public adoption because, online e-commerce malls are kind of dying in the United States. So you find people embracing that public utility and that access a lot quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. I also share this vision that the local movement is driven by labor costs and the fuel cost and the city congestion. So those are the components, and I don't see any way that the labor cost is going to decrease, or we have more available labor. So automation and lockers are the only way out of that. And what I see still is interesting from the US market is because there are not so many carrier specific locker networks. Still, those residential lockers or multi, how did you call them, multi-family locker,
Family.
multi-family lockers, they are much more versatile. Or they are finding interesting use cases besides parcel delivery. Like we were just talking about the fresh food delivery. So this is something in Europe we are talking parcel lockers related to parcels only, but seems that your use cases are much more wider.
Yeah, I will say just in the last 3 years, refrigerated locker compartments for fresh food delivery, even DoorDash, heated locker compartments, skyrocketed. It was, we did a few in 2021, and then, by 2024, it was like a 4x on the amount of refrigerated lockers we were installing everywhere. And if you look at places like Little Caesars, for example, one of the most profitable pizza chains in America, right? They have heated locker compartments where now you can just walk in and grab a $5 pizza from a locker compartment. So, you see all these places in New York like Go Locker, right? In the city of New York kind of embracing it. And I think that people are finally getting it, that like this is a really great, inexpensive way to like provide access to whatever you need to provide access to.
Absolutely, absolutely, and when we see also the porch piracy is in rise, then the security component also comes into the argumentations for the lockers.
Yeah, and Luxor One is owned by Assa Abloy, which is a big security brand, right? They provide secure access to buildings, so it makes sense that they also provide secure access to whatever you need it to be. And actually, police departments were using some of the installations I was doing were, secure storage of evidence or, you know, uh, other public works where it's like you need a basketball, right, at a basketball court on a local park, and there's a public locker there where you can pay $1 to check out a basketball and put it back. And so I'm just such a fan of the variety of the use cases that you can get from the locker industry.
Yeah, exactly. There are renting services. Also back in here, there are some companies already who are renting out power tools and special equipment, what is not meant to buy for the customers. But tell me a little bit more about the click and collect segment. Whether the retailers are eagerly installing lockers to hand over the products bought online.
Yeah, BOPIS, buy online, pick up in stores, right? It's very interesting. You see, you think of a locker as like a metal box, for example, but you also see places like IKEA where to them a locker is a metal cage with, access to it. So people are impatient, right? They don't want to wait in line. You have people that don't work a 9 to 5. So Luxer One had a lot of really amazing retail clients in hardware and electronics and things, and they're known for, an indestructible box. So if you were a gamer, right, and there was a midnight release for a game, you could use one of their clients and you could buy that game, and, at 12:01 a.m., you could go to your local electronics store and you can pick it up out of a locker. So it's just a really easy way to cut down on labor. And a lot of what we did in quarterly business reviews was showing that customers love it, right? Like people don't want to wait in line. They want to just go somewhere, walk in, grab their thing and walk out.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Because in our case, in Estonia, 80% of the last mile deliveries are delivered through the lockers. So we have skipped almost all the home delivery. The home delivery is basically only for the oversized items that doesn't fit into the lockers. But still, I'm not against the home delivery. In a sense, home delivery has a place and everything. I'm against free home delivery. In my mind, home delivery has to be premium service like a taxi. The public lockers are bus or subway, and home delivery is taxi premium service. So if you want and can afford that, then it's fine. But everything has to be priced. This is one thing I sort of stand for, is to give this decision making to the customer. If they want to get the product in 15 minutes and they're willing to pay for that, be my guest, do it.
Yeah.
But every different delivery method has to have a price, and customer has to decide what he needs.
Yeah, I know your background is from Omnivia, right? And so that's in the US, it's $5 to $7 extra for that final mile to deliver to your house. And then when you think about the cost of go backs or porch piracy, right? Like that, you could 2-3x that cost. And so, there's nothing worse than paying for home delivery and then it getting stolen or it getting lost in, the mail, especially as Amazon and USPS and UPS kind of uncouple this infrastructure that they've built out together. Now those missed deliveries and things seem to be increasing as well.
Yeah, I think you mentioned the player's name, USPS and UPS and FedEx. Those are the three biggest ones, and somebody from them has to take this locker game seriously. Then things start to happen.
Yeah, and I think you had people dabble, right? You had some of the big four dabble 5-6 years ago, but it was pre-pandemic. And so, they spent a lot of money, they deployed these things, and then, you have to teach people how to use it, right? And I don't think that the mobile technology was quite there now. And so post-pandemic, right, everyone now learned how to do contactless pickup and to use utilities a bit more. And I think now we're in a point where the pendulum has swung back and people are ready to embrace it again in a public setting, because Amazon has made it so okay to get an object delivered to an Amazon locker.
Yeah, I agree. Everything, or let's say Amazon is very good sort of market driver. They can really push customer experience into the new level, and they have already, I guess, more than 20,000 lockers installed in US already. So it's a good start, I would say.
Yeah, the only drawback about Amazon, right, is Amazon prioritize themselves very much, right? So, I can't tell you how many rip and replaces I've done in multifamily for Amazon lockers because, you know, um, you're gonna have your FedEx box left on the ground in front of your Amazon locker. You're gonna have your UPS box left on the ground because they don't do multi-carrier in the same compartment. They don't, they're very much selfish in like, this is an Amazon locker and it's going to prioritize Amazon. And so what do most people get from Amazon? They get a new phone cover. They get something inexpensive. What do you typically get from UPS or FedEx? You get your Nordstrom delivery. You get your very nice Macy's shirt delivered, right? So typically the things that were being left outside of an Amazon locker were very expensive things, while the things that were being left in an Amazon locker were something that was less than $10. And so it was a big, dichotomy there where it's like you can go for cost and get Amazon lockers pretty inexpensive, but the people actually using the lockers are going to be very upset because their most expensive stuff's going to be on the ground.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely a problem. We were lucky actually. When we started here in Estonia. Then this was the first wave of Asian e-commerce, and especially AliExpress, and it was exactly the sort of the cheap or low value products we managed to direct to the lockers, and then the customers also appreciated that they didn't uh, wish the few dollars phone cover will be home delivered for them. It was okay for them to take a few hundred meters to the locker and take the product from there, and then we educated the masses with Chinese e-commerce products to use lockers, because this is actually quite a heavy investment to educate people. Still, there are a lot of people who are afraid of new technology and afraid of lockers, but now we don't have this problem anymore. Sort of the argument that somebody says to me that there has to be still the old-fashioned phone support for the lockers. It's not the case. Everybody can use the lockers already because the user interface is usually so good already.
Yeah, and that's why I love the locker industry, right? Like it's still very grounded. Everyone I've met in locker software, hardware are very humble people. They've typically left big tech. And so I haven't ever met a locker manufacturer provider that's trying to outsmart the user, right? They've built trust in embracing like we design with the customer, not over them. And so to me, it's just design ethics where I think the locker industry is so humble that they're willing to really listen to the voice of customer, and rather than assuming they know what would be best from the customer, they're like, great, I'm getting this feedback from you, and now I'm going to, adapt this software or this hardware design so that it meets what you need.
I absolutely agree with you. I think the reason for that has been that still the out-of-home delivery and lockers has been sort of underdog compared to home delivery always, and we have been humbled in a
Yeah.
way through that, and hopefully this still stays in our industry, because the other thing I notice here in Europe at least. Also, using the term customers in many instances, I see that also the locker operators referring retailers as a customers, not the end customers. For me, locker business is about the end customer, the person who actually pays for all of that, because this is customers' money, who with what the retailers and logistics companies are living for. Yeah, Fascinating. Listen, it was really nice talking to you, and I really like your attitude and your experience in lockers. So I hope that now you are looking for other options. You will end up being related to lockers.
Likewise, I'm definitely on the market for my next locker company. So hopefully your network gives me a call.
So thank you, and see you soon, hopefully.
Thank you, Andre.